The following session is from Signal TV, which occurred over on twitch.tv/Twilio on September 30th and October 1st.
We are moving on from Edge locations to talk now about a whole brand new project released here at Signal this year, just in the last couple of days. And with me for this segment are Chris Leader and Ryan Horn. So let's bring them in. And then, guys, if you want to introduce yourselves, tell us what you do at Twilio, how long you've been here, even a fun fact about yourself if you'd like.
All right. Great to be with you, Phil, and great to be with you, everyone else who's joining. My name is Chris Leader. I've been at Twilio since the SendGrid acquisition. Actually, I joined SendGrid in the summer of 2017. So been with the two companies together a little over a few years. And fun fact about myself is I was actually in a traveling circus in high school.
Do we have to spend time talking about event streams, or can we just kind of go into that for the next 20 minutes?
We can sidebar if you need to.
I'm going to take that up with you later. Ryan?
Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Horn. Super excited to be here and talk about event streams. I am a software architect for our customer data products at Twilio, and that includes event streams. I'm a Twilio dinosaur. I've been around for a little over 8 years now at Twilio. And a fun fact about me is I'm a pretty big fan of classic analog synthesizers, mostly of the Roland variety. So owned Juno 106, Jupiter 8, Juno 60, and a SH 101 over the years, among others.
Very nice, very nice. So let's get right into the meat of the matter, because I'm kind of excited to learn a bit more about event streams myself. It's not something I've dealt with. So, like, if you could give us an overview of, what is event streams, why have we built it, and what are the problems we're trying to solve here?
Yeah, definitely. So as you mentioned, Event Streams is a brand new product that we actually just announced at Signal yesterday. Something we've been working on for a little while now, so we're really excited to get it out in front of customers and hear feedback from folks. But if you kind of take a step back and look at Twilio's history over the course of a little over a decade, really remarkable. We've released channel after channel to empower developers to be able to communicate with their customers. And so starting with SMS and voice and adding them incrementally over time, including email from the SendGrid acquisition. And over the course of time, as we release each of those channels, they all kind of have their own interface. Channels have webhooks or an API that folks can query for stats to get data from each of those communication channels. And so now that we're at this stage with Twilio, where we really do offer a breadth of channels, we want to make it easier for developers to get all of the data from all of their customer communications together really easily. So with Event Streams, we're releasing an API that allows you to tap into all of that data from all of your Twilio communications in a consistent format through a streaming interface. And we're really focused on reliable delivery. So we're supporting at least once delivery semantics. So in the event that your system goes down, we'll actually queue those events for up to 24 hours so that developers can really trust that they're getting all of that really valuable data from Twilio.
Nice. That does seem important, because that's something that webhooks doesn't really provide for our developers at this point, right? In many ways.
We've definitely heard from folks that, webhooks are industry standard, they're tried and true, but certainly not without some limitations. And specifically for certain webhooks, if your system does go down, the retries can be a little bit limited for folks. So yeah, we're really excited to offer more robust retries, especially through this.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so who do we obviously people have been building with webhooks before. So who do we build these event streams for?
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about kind of the different components of it. But actually I can let Ryan take this one.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that we want to do with event streams and in general with our developer products is meet developers where they already are. So I know, webhooks is sort of the common language for a lot of web developers already, but a lot of web developers also are on Amazon. So integrating with the tools that they use there, like Kinesis. And Kinesis is the first what we call a sink, which is sort of the abstract notion of a destination for events that we're introducing with event streams. But we do plan to introduce other types of sinks in the future. So it's really for developers, and it's kind of like a data exhaust for developers. So it's for them to do what they want with it.
Nice. Yeah, so I've not dealt with Kinesis at all before. So if there's other people that don't, possibly in the chat watching right now, could you possibly explain Kinesis actually for us for AWS?
Sure, yeah. So Kinesis is essentially an event bus. It is a buffer that you can have events sent to, and then you can consume from that buffer or that stream sort of at your application's leisure. So it's great for, let's say that you have great variance in load over the course of a day or time period. Let's say it's very spiky. That buffer allows you to sort of smooth that out over time. And so let's say you have a huge spike in traffic through your use of Twilio, and then with webhooks, what happens is you can almost get a denial of service effect, right? Because you get this flood of webhooks coming in from that huge load of events that are being generated through your usage. With something like Kinesis, it sort of absorbs all of that. And so it takes all of those events, you pull them off at your leisure.
Nice. So this is one of those things where you don't have to keep your webhook servers at like maximum potential capacity to avoid spikes. We can just deal with a nice smooth event stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And do we have this is for all our Twilio developers, right? But it's a new project. So I believe it's only going to Kinesis at launch. Is that right? Yep. And then for which products are we offering this as well?
Yeah, so we'll be supporting Kinesis as the initial sync type during this private beta phase that we launched. So we are in a beta. It's going to be limited to an initial set of customers who will be onboarding more and more over time, eventually ramping up to a public beta. And yeah, we're really looking forward to working with customers during this initial beta phase to understand what other destinations, what other syncs would you like to have your events delivered to. So certainly starting with Kinesis, there are other AWS services that we heard customers would love to just pipe events directly into, as well as Azure, Google Cloud Platform, probably offering our own webhook, still supporting those retry guarantees.
That makes sense. So if it's private right now, is there somewhere, are you looking for people to sign up to kind of get in on this private beta?
Yeah, we would love to hear from everyone on the stream right now who's interested in this product. So we launched our website. If you go to twilio.com/event-streams, you can just click through and fill out a sign up form for the private beta.
Okay, so let's get into it then. Can we? What are the components of an event stream? Like how can a developer actually use this?
Yeah, I can take that one. So there's a few components we're introducing, a few new nouns as part of the product that are important to understand when getting set up and using event streams. First, as I mentioned before, we have this concept of a sink, which is where your events get sent. And as we mentioned, also Kinesis is the one that we're launching with, but do you anticipate adding more over time in meeting our customers and developers where they are and where they want to receive their events? For Kinesis specifically, what the setup involves is first creating a Kinesis stream in your AWS account. So that's one important thing to mention here, is that we're not pushing to a Twilio Kinesis stream. This is actually a Kinesis stream that lives in your Twilio account. And you grant Twilio access to write to it using IAM permissions and just granting the ones that are required for us to write to the stream. And then through Twilio's API, what you do is you'll create a sink and you'll configure that sink with a reference to that Kinesis stream that lives in your account. And so once you have that set up, your next step is to create what we call a subscription. And you can think of a subscription as a request from your application to Twilio to deliver events matching certain types to one of your syncs. So let's say that you wanted to receive your call ringing and your message received events. You would simply just create a subscription referencing those events and point them to this point that subscription to your sync. And you can one of the beauties of event streams is we're pulling all of this data across all the channels and products together and delivering them to you in a consistent format and in a consistent way. And so you can receive all these different events in the same stream using the same subscription, which is pretty cool. So yeah, once you set up your subscription, you'll start receiving events generated through your usage of Twilio. So as you start making phone calls, sending messages, using TaskRouter, and yeah, all those events share a common metadata structure using Cloud Events, which is an open source standard that we've adopted, as well as a JSON schema for the domain specific event payload contained in every event. Yeah, that's pretty much it and how you get set up. And then it's really up to you. And we're really excited to see what people do with it.
That's pretty cool. I have one question on that. Like when you send you're sending a subscription to like from a set of events to the to your sync. Would you normally go with one sync and send everything there, or would you set up different syncs, different Kinesis subscriptions for that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we've made it as flexible as we can. So you can choose whether you have all of your events going to one sync. You can choose to have, let's say you want a sync for dev, stage, and prod. You can have all the events going to your dev sync for your dev environment, and then stage and prod for your prod environment. Or you could have a single event going to a single sync at a time. And so I think we're really excited to see how people use it and set it up, and that'll inform sort of how we organize things as we iterate on the product.
That's very cool. Cool. Yeah, flexibility means we can just build with it however we'd like to, I guess. Fantastic. Okay, so can we see it in action? Do we have a demo that we can show today?
Yes, we definitely can.
That's what I want to hear. I like talking about things. I love seeing things in action too. Sweet.
So you asked me earlier, Phil. I don't think I answered which event types we're actually supporting, or which products we're supporting out the gate here. So yeah, we're really excited to start supporting voice insights call summaries, actually. So those are available via an API if you're a voice insights customer today. So this is going to be the first time that you can actually stream call summaries as Twilio wraps them up. And then additionally, we're supporting all the TaskRouter events that are available via the TaskRouter webhook today. And then for messaging, status events. So, SMS sent, SMS delivered. And I think, coming back to your question about like, well, do you configure a subscription to a single sync? Or we've heard from companies who are really relying on TaskRouter that they've been a little bit hamstrung trying to get TaskRouter data via a single webhook URL. So for the first time, you could configure any number of syncs. Let's say you've got a pretty big organization, multiple stakeholders need TaskRouter data from different teams directly to different services. So you would have that flexibility with Event Stream. So it's one example.
Nice.
Yeah, if you can all see my screen here, I'm happy to actually show you things in action.
Please go for it.
All right, awesome. So on the left-hand side here, I've set up a Flex project. And then on the right, in my terminal, I'm just going to run a script. And this is listening directly to my Kinesis stream in my AWS account. And so we've actually already gone ahead and configured the sync. So we have permissions to write to Kinesis. And then I've also set up a subscription for all the event types that I just mentioned. So we're going to have the call summary events, all the TaskRouter events, and then messaging events as well. So I've got myself set up as a worker here. If I go ahead and bring myself online, you'll see immediately that I get a worker activity update event. And so let's actually dig into this a little bit. You can see here that in this data element, we've got all the standard data that you would expect from a worker activity update via the webhook. And it's all wrapped in this new consistent envelope format that Ryan was talking about. So every event that flows through event streams is going to have this same metadata. And what's really cool here is that one of the attributes is this type. So this is brand new. This is something that we're building out with event streams. For the first time, we have an actual hierarchy of all of the events that Twilio is generating. So this is following the format com.twilio.productgroup, .resource, .subresource, and then the actual event instance itself. So in this case, task router worker activity update. And then we've also got a schema that we link to. So all the every event, the data payload basically will have a schema and it will be versioned. So that will be really predictable for developers what they're getting. Yeah, and so now that I'm online, let's go ahead and call in. All right, phone calls coming in, and you can see on the right, we're going to start seeing a bunch of different events flowing through. I'm just going to wrap up the call, and then I'll wrap up the task. And so we can see we had, reservation was accepted, the task was updated, workflow target matched. So all of these great task router events. And then additionally, I mentioned that we subscribe to call summaries. What's happening on the back end right now is the voice services are aggregating a bunch of different data points about the call and transforming them into a partial call summary record. And those are going to come through, within 5 minutes of a call being completed. You can start getting all of that information about the call. And then you could also subscribe to a completed call record, which would come through within a half hour of the call ending. So that's the task wrap up. And then here we go. We've got voice insights call summary partial. So you can see this is generated from a different Twilio product, but we've got that same metadata and all of this really valuable information about everything that just transpired in the call. So let's say in this example, I'm an agent, I just wrapped up a call. Someone on the marketing team actually wants to reach out to the person who just had the support interaction and maybe send them a promotion or send them a survey. They could just go ahead and send them a text message. And over here on the right, we should start seeing those message status events. And there we go. So the SMS was sent, SMS was delivered, and all of this data is flowing directly into my AWS infrastructure, single stream. And why not, if we wanted to do it over WhatsApp instead, there we go, message sent over WhatsApp, to and from the same numbers there. So
do we get the receipts on that as well?
I believe we do, but let's double check that.
We should have. Yeah, we'll have all of this. We'll have parity with all of the status events that you would get through the messaging status callbacks today. So, yeah, that's event streams in action.
Perfect, amazing. We did have a couple of questions come in chat. So John Yu is asking, how, if at all, is this kind of different from a pub sub kind of architecture? Or is that not something that can be compared?
I would say it's pretty similar. I think the difference is in the application that our customers are building. They're mostly doing the subbing, right? Because all the events are actually happening within Twilio, and so it's the Twilio products that are doing the pubbing, and then the applications that our customers can build will create the subscriptions for the events that they care about. But yeah, it's very similar to a pub sub system.
Nice, that makes sense. Yeah, you're just the developer using it is just in charge of the subbing and dealing with things as they come. Yeah, nice. There was a question. I don't think it was the case. I mean, we covered that messaging and WhatsApp, but those messages, those events are coming through. But our Nanjineni, oh God, I can't read these things right now. Anyway, asks if conversation events are part of event streams.
Yeah, good question. So we do want to support conversation events in the fullness of time. They won't be available in the private beta phase just yet. But one of the reasons that we're unveiling event streams at Signal is to start hearing from folks, and so we really want to hear which events customers think we should prioritize. And there's a lot of excitement, I should say, across all of Twilio internally to to onboard to event streams. So
Nice.
the more we can hear from customers that, for example, conversations is important to you and you'd love to use it through event streams, the more we can kind of prioritize that and ship it quicker for you. But I will say, in the fullness of time, we'll support all the events that Twilio generates. That's the vision for this product. This is just the first step.
And I will also say, I know we talked about, we did a lot of comparing to webhooks. Think about beyond webhooks. What do you want? What data do you want from Twilio? Let us know, and we'll see if we can make it happen.
Amazing. And I guess the best way to get that feedback in is to head to that event streams link and sign up and say what you want there, I guess.
Yes, please do.
Yes. Amazing. Is there actually any, again, you said we've been talking about comparisons between streams and webhooks, but is there any new event data at all that we're getting from event streams?
Yeah, so I mentioned the Voice Insights call summaries that we just saw. It's available through the Voice Insights API, but since that product doesn't expose its own webhook, it will actually be the first streaming interface to get that call summary data. And then, assume we'll be working on adding additional sync types. And so what's going to be cool about this in the future is once teams are onboarding net new data to event streams, customers will be able to configure a webhook, Kinesis, whatever other sync types we add over time directly in event streams. So yeah, Voice Insights call summaries are new. Stay tuned. There could be some other net new types like Ryan was alluding to.
Nice. Cool. There was one more thing I think about, just wanted to cover. Oh, one second. Got another question from John. With the demo that was shown, all right, have you got any use cases for the events there that were generated? So from the demo that we saw, what would be some use cases for those events generated?
Yeah, good question. So we do have some pilot customers who are interested in all of these event types that we already showed. It's with that consistent metadata, you'll be able to just basically have a full stream of all of these events. And over time, trying to think of how much I can share about this, but over time, we'll be doing some cool things to help you tie these interactions together. So for example, if you're communicating with a customer across messaging, if they come in through Flex support via TaskRouter, if you're emailing with this customer, over time, we want to make that customer engagement a lot easier for you. And so you can think of this consistent format with the envelope as a first step towards that. So that's one use case that's really important to us. Ryan, I don't know if you want to add any others.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the beauty of this is this is a new primitive. It's more of a lower level architectural primitive than it is a product, right? And so I think a lot of the use cases are going to emerge from our customers. But what we've seen so far are we see customers building operational dashboards for call quality if they're running like a contact center. We've seen customers just logging all of the interactions that they're having with their customers, just so they have cross-product insight, because that's pretty difficult to do today across the different Twilio products. We've seen people just using it as for debugging on their side, just to ship the logs to their own infrastructure and ingest it into their own log analysis tool and warehouse. Yeah, the use cases are pretty far and wide. One thing I do want to call out, going back to both the PubSub question and the question about Kinesis. This is a unidirectional stream, so it's really it's similar to informational webhooks. This is not a replacement for Twibble, so you wouldn't use this to control call flow, right? Or respond to a message. It's really for ingesting event data after those things have happened, and so and it's also not a hard real-time system. And so we're still working through what our actual guarantees are going to be around latency for when the event leaves Twilio and gets to your stream. But we're targeting on the order of seconds right now, but we're going to work on that over time.
Well, that's fine. I guess when it's logging and things like that, it doesn't need to be absolutely instant. It's not quite the same as you've got somebody on the end of a phone call right now that you're having to respond back to. But that's it's good that there's target to increase that as well. That's cool. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, and possibly almost sharing too much. I don't know. It's your guys' product to talk about. I'm excited to see where the future of this is going. John also says thanks for the detailed answers. It's excellent. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to kind of just wrap up event streams with us for? Like, what's the future? Where are we going with this?
Yeah. So again, just to reiterate, we're going to be adding a bunch of other products over the course of the next year, prioritizing a bunch of other sync types, and excited to hear from customers. Like Ryan said, it's a platform, it's a primitive. When we say Twilio, we can't wait to see what you build. That's genuinely because like harnessing the creativity of the masses of developers, like none of us could even anticipate what folks are going to build when we launch new things. So really excited to see what folks build with it. Excited to hear from you all what ideas you might have.
And from my perspective, what's next? All of the data is next. So, but we need your help telling us how to prioritize which ones you want to see first. So definitely go and send us some feedback.
Awesome. So yeah, if you're interested, get in there, send your feedback into that twilio.com/event streams. That's going to go straight to these guys, and they're going to fix it all up for you. I can't make promises on other people's behalf, but that's what we're doing. Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you, Ryan. Great to hear about it. Thank you for the demo as well. Great to see this in action.
We'll have more sessions from Signal TV coming really soon, so if you're not subscribed, subscribe now. In the meantime, check out one of these other videos appearing on screen right now. We'll see you real soon. Until then, I'm out of here. Bye.